Hey guys, welcome back to the REI Network podcast with me, Gavin Timms. I'm super excited. I've actually got a couple of my clients joining me today, talking about what they've been doing in their business over the last month, and the results have been insane. Just before I bring them and introduce them, if you are interested in working with me, go to reinetwork.com/join. reinetwork.com/join. We have a new format that is awesome. We're getting great results. And again, I'm going to bring over two of my clients right now. Here they are. I have Terry and Pamela. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Awesome. I firstly appreciate you doing this, right? I know literally we've just dragged Pamela on screen to get her to join me and Terry, but she did it eventually. So I appreciate you both coming on. All right.
Mm.
So why did I ask you to do this? For a couple of reasons, okay? And probably two or three reasons, really. I think the results that you've got in a short amount of time has been fantastic, okay? And people listening or watching us, if you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast, you're going to see through this episode exactly why they've done the deals that they've done. Because of you'll see personality types and obviously just getting on with it. So I wanted to, identify that. The other thing is as well, the amount of deals that you've done in such a small amount of time, right? So we're just looking over the last month we've been working together. Now, Terry, with your background, you have been a flipper before. You've done marketing on the direct mail side, but nothing to do with really any, other marketing channels. And you've always done it where you literally just buy the property immediately, right, for your own rehab.
Yeah, correct. Either we tried some PPC, pay-per-click stuff. Yeah. It was okay, but it seemed like the amount of money we put out, the amount of money we're getting back in was not. But so direct mail was our main media, correct?
Got it. Okay, so what we're going to be covering, we're going to dive back into, how they go into the business and kind of their link up here. But we are going to be talking how that these guys have got 6 contracts in closing, okay, in a month from new marketing. That is insane. 6 deals, 2 which are closed, 3 that are set to close. One's about to go in escrow with 4 more contracts today, potentially to get signed, with also a portfolio. So when we're talking about massive action and can you make money in this business, 100%, and we're talking about hitting it head on, I only have a few clients that really want to, where I struggle to keep up with, right? Which is a good thing because they're obviously driving it forward. So that's what we're going to be talking, exactly how they did that through this episode. But let's jump back. Let's start with you, Terry, and then we'll bring Pamela in and how that transition. So tell us a little bit about you and kind of your background.
As far as construction, my mother actually was in construction her whole life. She got the Woman of Achievement Award. She built a lot of the houses downtown St. Louis. So I grew up kind of swinging a hammer. I started my own in '82. Went through McBride & Sons training with how to be a framer, how to be a finisher, and then went on and did some stuff to learn how to do drywall and drywall finishing. So I've always been kind of hands-on the construction side of it.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And then what was the big thing when obviously you came into the program and I'm always honest, like you guys are the drivers here, right? You make it happen, not me. So I don't want to make out that I'm like, oh, you only were successful because of me, because that's far from it. But what made you want to get involved? What have you created to go, actually, we need to get better systems, better marketing and things going to do more deals? Why? What was the thought process there?
We knew we were lacking in repetitive business. So, we were kind of hamster wheel walking. So our marketing. So we would send out a marketing letter, and all of a sudden, we'd get blasted with 140 phone calls, and had to scramble to just get the 2 or 3 best ones, and then everything would die, and we'd have to do it again over and over again. So we knew that we were missing something, that something wasn't right. And then we watched the podcast of yours where you'd made a statement about closing 4, and then over the next 6 to 7 months, you closed like 50 on follow-up. And so that kind of, with me and what I was doing, because I'm a great one-time closer. If you put me in front of somebody, I'll outdo almost everybody, especially on the phone or in person. The other thing we noticed too, that when we watched a lot of your stuff, Pamela here is a singer in a band, and so that's one of her biggest hobbies. But she's never done real estate before, and we noticed the way you handle a lot of new customers and how you took them by the hand, and even people that never had any real estate experience, and you walked them through. So it was a really good fit for us. You had the systems and the follow-up that I was looking for, and you had the patience and the beginning knowledge to help Pamela with to move to the next stage.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And then Pamela, you got involved, obviously leaving your job, you joined, and we had them conversations, and as it was kind of amazing to me because I was impressed the deals that you'd done from one-time closes, and I talk probably about on every call, it still blows my mind, where we couldn't be so far apart, where my close ratio is much more, and a lot of it's to do with the marketing. Well, maybe, but you're still closing deals. Obviously, you've got 6 in a month, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. But the follow-up side of it, when 90% of my business comes from follow-up, and you're so front end heavy on them closes, I'm like, if you're doing, let's say, 3 deals a month or 2 deals a month, you should be doing 6 or 8 deals a month, total from that follow-up, right? And I know that's kind of something that we've been working on. And since Pamela's probably been working for maybe 4 weeks or 3 weeks in the business, Pamela, you've already got one-off follow-up though from about 3 months. Is that right?
Right. One from 3 months, you said?
Yeah, 3 months follow-up. Was that the one that you locked up?
Yeah, Angela Kittner. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you see, like, the difference that wasn't happening. So my point is that when you got on the phone of the follow-up from what was coming in, right?
Give me 1 second. She's got to grab something real quick. Right.
No problem.
Yeah, she had something in the stove and it went off.
Oh no,
right. So
yeah. So
she followed up with this lady, and it's going to be a really nice deal. It's a $400,000 property, and we've got it under contract for $220. It's closing in 2 weeks. The lady actually kind of blew me off because she really didn't like trust guys. So Pamela took over the follow-up on it, and her personality were pretty much alike. Both of them had worked finance in a previous job. And so she created a rapport, and Pamela was able to get the contract inked, where probably if I had kept pushing, it'd been really hard for me to do.
Yeah. But the good thing is that obviously that's a huge impact immediately, right? By taking that, and that's the point. And as soon as you see, wow, if we did one of them, which Pamela did, right, was understanding that situations change, understanding that, Terry's personality is closed today, right? If you're not closing today, I'm going to go to the next. And it's almost like that's brilliant, and that's needed in our business, because it's you're in the business to make money today, right? And that's what everyone should be doing. But at the same time, we've got to be picking everything back up to go at it again. So I think doing that follow-up is huge for you guys to identify, wow, we've actually made whatever you're going to make on it from that 3 months of follow-up though, and doing more of that, because the more you do, the more you're gonna see. So that's really good. Okay, so let's talk about, so we came on and we've been doing cold calling. We've been doing text messaging, right? And we understand, as I teach everyone, text messaging is a very fine line it's going to go away, right? But it hasn't yet. And I actually got some stick for saying double down on texting before it goes. And people are like, that's a stupid idea. And I'm like, well, that's an opinion. But if you're doing it the right way, and you're not texting people when they're saying stop and the DNCs, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you should be fine. And again, when it stops, then obviously stop, just like why we don't do ringless voicemail anymore. And obviously you've been following that method. And we started off with, when we set up a system, it's almost like you want to set up the basic thing, right? You want like a basic foundation of maybe one VA, you're doing some calls, you're doing this, and then very quickly you can then go to 2 VAs, to 3 VAs, and you can start to grow. And what I call is a marketing machine, right? Is that you literally can just play with the amount of leads that you want. The more that you feed the machine, the more people you have working the leads, the more it's going to spit out. And it's just literally a revolving thing. And I know I think we were probably, Terry, and I'm if I remember rightly, I think we're about 3 days in and you wanted a second VA.
Right.
You? You were like, okay, let's go. I'm ready. Like,
well, yeah, that's my personality. Let's go hit it. So.
Yeah.
But you slowed me down. Pamela slowed me down. We just put our second VA on today. So
nice. And you've already got the cool thing is, again, you've been doing texting yourself. The reason is we talk about why should you do the texting yourself, because obviously getting them on the phone immediately is absolutely critical. Yes, you can use a VA, but you've got to make sure that you've got to watch that lag time. So if we go to a VA texting, what I suggest that they do is immediately alert you saying, hey, we got one, get on the phone with them right now, copy that conversation, and then you can basically run with it and kind of, work that lead.
And we took another one of your suggestions was to take and get maybe, like a daughter or something. I had a daughter who's in between jobs who, I put to work immediately. Pamela went through and used one of your podcasts and set up all the campaigns, and then went back through a couple of days ago and set up all the quick replies. So now we have our daughter my daughter who is doing all the texting for us now, sitting at 1,000, answering, getting through the, like the wrong answers and I don't want you to call me anymore. And then as soon as she gets somebody that says, well, yeah, I'd be interested in an offer, she does exactly that. She puts it in our CRM, who alerts me, and I get on the phone and call immediately. So that kind of freed me up also. Yeah,
absolutely. That's awesome. And the goal is, we had a good session yesterday. We were talking about obviously what's the end goal, right? Because the more that you do, we have to watch in this business. Because I know what I want, right? And I know that the more that you do and when you're handling the calls, the busier you're going to get. And you need to get aligned with exactly that, like bringing your daughter in now, because texting's a lot, right? It takes a lot of time when you're sitting there and all of a sudden you've just freed up hours of the day by delegating that to somebody else that can obviously do it. And then
something else that we've noticed is the amount of people texting now are down to next to nothing. I mean, we've got a lot of people who are saying, I haven't got a text in a long time. So I think, like you said, a lot of people went, oh, that's dumb, they're going to get rid of it. So we're hitting everything that we can hit because nobody is doing the texting anymore because they've gotten rid of it.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Okay, so let's talk about these, some of these deals. I know you've closed one. I think you closed one at 19.5. I think that was
Profit.
The first deal. Yeah,
we closed one at 19.5. We just closed one that you were talking about. We bought it at 37 and closed it at 66, and Pamela closed it in one day at 66. And it's already funded, and so she did a great job there with the marketing of it. We've got another one that we are closing Thursday. We bought it at 80. We're double closing at 100 on that day. So we're going to, by the time fees and stuff are done, we'll make about 19.5. And then we're picking up another one that's closing at the end of the month. It's a hotel that we did. We bought it at 115. We cleaned it, threw it on the market. Pamela got a buyer at 142 for it, and she got a buyer in the same weekend. So, we sat down and figured that we should probably make about 85 to 100,000 off the first year of being with you, or first month being with you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's insane. That's great. I mean, I love it. It's 100K turnaround is pretty impressive. And to be fair to Pamela as well, you're brand new and you've kind of slotted in and kind of just, making it happen, running with it, which is amazing. I think for people watching this, it's almost like it's easy to work with because you just get on with it, right? You just do it and it obviously works, right? I think a lot of people is that they want to go, well, yeah, what about if we do it this way? Or what about if we do it that way? And I'm like, well, just do it the way that it's working. Like Everyone should be testing. There's nothing, everyone that I work with, like when they make, like you guys now making money, you might go, well, actually we do this now, we've tweaked that and it gets better as well. You're in a position to warrant doing that, right? Because it's working and you're trying to make it better and you're making tweaks. It's nothing worse than someone going, I've never done a deal, I'm going to start messing around doing everything but you said. and can't get a deal done. Like, where obviously, Terry, I know your personality is 100 mile an hour, right? And you're the sales guy. So how do you guys work together? Like, how does who's doing what in the business? Like, how's that working right now?
So Terry really just kind of runs, obviously, full speed without stopping, and leaves a trail behind typically. So most of the time it's me kind of cleaning up behind and kind of setting a path to get it going too. So the organization, the administrative part, the making sure we're following up on a call, or, you know, the daily to-do list, or here's what's set for the week. Those are more the things that I handle. And he's the speed racer out there just pounding the ground and in people's faces. So,
yeah, no, but at least you understand that, right? So you're playing to each other's strengths.
Right.
And my team says to me, they say it's like having a fishing net, right? Where I'm just going and they're just trying to catch things as it goes past me. Like, they're just trying to like catch it and then organize it, right?
right.
So I 100% see it. You know, we want to cut every corner and just go, just get me on the phone. And I do it still today. People are like, well, this is the process. I'm like, just give me the number and I'll do it. But I forget, by me doing that throws the whole process off. So it is a learning thing, and it's slow down, wait, because if I do that and that solves the problem for me, but then everyone else is like, well, how did the call go? What's next? You haven't done anything. You've not updated it. And I'm like, oh yeah, because I didn't follow that process. So it is something to battle with. But when you get these processes in place, and understand that the back end, you can literally then massage the marketing. And when we open up another market, right? Because I know that's the plan, is to go into a virtual market. And once you have the marketing machine right now, so that can be turned on, and we can market anywhere. No problem. Like, that's easy. Generating now is easy. The hard bit is, well, what do we do when the lead comes in, right? Who's going to go on the appointment? Who's going to show it? Who's going to do the pictures? Who's going to dispo it? And that's the bit that needs work in a virtual market, because then once you have that foundation, you can then just turn on the faucet, more leads, and you can be in 10 markets if you want, or whatever you guys want to do. So really good.
Pamela is awesome, like you said, at understanding the CRM that you set us up with, and your VA, who's really helped us through the CRM and has taught us, because you have that class every Thursday, the CRM, that is working really well. And it's nice to have the resource to be able to come back and say, how do I do this? How do I do that? That works fantastic. And she is kind of like a net. Like yesterday's show, I took 4 calls during your show yesterday, and all of them I threw notes at her and said, here you go, put these in. And she's looking at me like I'm on this show, and I'm like, no, we got to get these notes in here. I don't care about this show. We're not get the notes in. So it is a work in process. The one thing that we really try to do, though, is once dinner time comes, we stop with real estate and we sit down and we turn the phones off, and we try to spend some time. This morning, breakfast was what we did. We cooked breakfast together, and we took time and we just kind of talked about, our workout and our eating and how we're going to do different things. And we turned real estate off. And and like I said before, Pamela's got a hobby. She sings in a band. She's a lead singer. So, and then, she tries to do her hobby on the weekends when she can. And then I play volleyball for a national traveling team. So I'll take off on the weekend and play. So, working together really works well, but you also got to kind of have a little bit of time apart too,
Yeah, I think that's really important. And a lot of people listening are going to be, husband and wife or couples, right? Having this very problem. Me and my wife, we don't work in the business together. She does help me, but it's kind of like the handoff. Once she's running it, and I'm not involved, because again, just our personalities, it doesn't work. And a lot of people can work together, but you just need to understand that. And I think the biggest thing that you've just said is the turn off, because I was worried about her coming into the business and working, is I don't want to just talk real estate. When I'm done, I'm done. I don't want to talk about a deal
Right.
in the evening. I don't want to talk about what marketing or why a deal fell out or whatever, the good and the bad, right? I just don't want to talk about it. And the easiest thing is well, don't get involved, then we've got nothing to talk about when it comes to that. Right. So I think it's good that you set that boundary and you both understand it, because there's so many moving parts that it does drag people in, and all of a sudden then it becomes a problem, right? In the relationship. All we do is talk real estate, and this sucks. And money's not everything. Like, again, you're set to make 100 grand in your first month, which is fantastic. But at the same time, if you're miserable, well, what's it all for? You know?
Right. The other thing I noticed too that really works well is we have our hats. She does the administrative stuff. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, I ask her, what do you want? How do I do it? What, so I kind of make sure that she's the authority on the administrative stuff, and she works through the administrative stuff. When it comes to the sales process, we have a very clear sign. You don't talk while I'm selling. And if I ask you what your opinion is, then you're allowed to get it. But while I'm selling, you don't talk. So, and so being able to, check your ego and be a little bit humble and realize that she's got her hat, I got my hat, and, this is the way we work. That seems to work really well too,
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. The other thing is, and you might be doing this, Terry, because you're obviously on the front line a lot. What you need to do, and you might already be doing this, is setting Pamela up for follow-up. So, you can just say, hey, my partner, my girlfriend, my wife, whatever, however you want to position, right? And you can say, hey, we'll work the business. So she might follow up with you and check in. Just give that personal touch that she might reach out. And then when that handover is done, Pamela can do obviously that follow-up, right? Because you're obviously not going to be able to close everyone you talk to. Right. And just mentioning in people like the husband and wife feel, right? They like the vibe. It's more people. It's people trust it, and it's not like a big company and things like that. So just positioning like, yeah, she'll probably check in, and doing them handovers will help a lot. Especially when she then starts to build that rapport through the follow-up stage, and either bring you in to close or just close it herself, because we talked about the lady is personalities. Some people don't want to deal with men and women, and you just got to not get people get it too personal. Like, okay, cool, they don't want to talk to me and they want to talk to someone else. Whatever we got to do, like, it doesn't matter. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, so check that's the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah. Well, no, that's awesome. So what would you say? Let me ask you, and then we're going to wrap this up, but let me ask you, obviously you're in the new format, right? Obviously with our calls, we do 3 to 4 live calls a week in the group. Everything's on video if you want video on, and it's very interactive. What do you think about that? Like, how have you, and you can give me your honest opinion. I'm not actually asked you this question before, but what do you think, with that, the interaction of that? Do you feel that helps a lot?
I really like it, because for me, being like newer to the whole environment in general, it's helpful because you get to hear different perspectives of other people and how they're doing things. And, you can ask any question. And a lot of times someone else has already gone through that experience, or is having difficulty over in this side of the system, or this is what they've done, and they have something to share as far as like being able to navigate it differently, or just a whole different idea that maybe someone else hasn't shared yet, and, maybe like for Terry, it's something he's always done, but someone else in the group never even thought of it, or vice versa, so it's kind of helpful in that, because you kind of have that camaraderie of even the whole group environment, just giving their own feedback and the different ideas of the way they've handled the things. So that's been really helpful for me.
No, that's really good. And you're exactly right. I think because we used to do it as like a webinar, so it'd just be me on the screen just talking, and then you just ask questions. And I've done it like that for years, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. So we started to do this, and everyone really liked it. And it was big because obviously I now work on the business, not in it, right? And I have done for years. And as much as I'm involved in and knowing what's happening, you can lose touch, right? You can lose that, like, feeling of it's your first time, and hearing it from me going, yeah, I was in that position, I used to do that, but you don't get that feeling of, oh no, here's Joe in the group or whoever that's just done their first deal or going through that exact thing as you, or this is how they overcome it, which is way more powerful than anything that can come out of my mouth, right? Because they're like, oh wow, like he did it or she did it. And that's not like disrespectful, but I used to think that, like, if they can do it, then I can definitely do it, and that's the whole point. And we also have people doing 4 or 5 deals a month, making 50, 60K consistently every month. So we still have a retention of the higher end guys and gals, but also the new ones to try and elevate everybody up. It's been a game changer from what I see in results, and especially with us meeting so frequently. We're not waiting for a week to get something done. We're like on it and we're changing it and we're going and to get these results done, because otherwise, if you're not doing that, in my opinion, then you're just waiting around. So
yeah, we were talking about it last night. Just the different seasoning levels of people, is really helpful, because you get that little entry level, so you don't feel like if you ask a question, everybody else already knows the answer and you're going to look like a fool. Like there's other people that don't know either, and I feel really comfortable for the most part just asking the simplest questions, but then also hearing things that they have to cycle through a few times to really grasp, because it's further down the road than where I'm at right now. But just the availability to have all of that, and it kind of helps the momentum, I think, too, in that you can, every day, you're hearing different stories or sharing different information. So it's like, let's do that. Let's try that today,
it keeps it fresh. I couldn't have said it any better. You're exactly right. That was the point. And there's no egos in the group either, because I won't have it like, I've not got time. I can't deal with it anyway, personally. So never mind anybody else, because we're all at that level. That's why there's never a stupid question, because we all started with 0 at some point. So you're exactly right. And a lot of it, and we're going to put some more things in place as well. We're probably going to, even though it's a mastermind setting now, we're probably going to try and have a, like an elite group. We're going to do like an elite group, and then maybe like a beginner session for, I'm not going to call it beginner, but it's kind of brilliant at the basic session of just the little things that you forget, like how to pull the list, like what criterias and things that are super important, right? But also give people a goal to try and get into, kind of the elite group of making maybe 100K a year, and we're going to develop that as we go. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I appreciate you both kind of getting on and talking. Again, congratulations, 100K in closing in the first month is amazing. And I think people are going to get a lot from this to just say, take massive action, right? Well, let me ask you, what would you say to somebody, like if they're new, trying to get started? What would your advice be? And you might have 2 different answers here.
To me, it would be exactly what I did. I didn't try to change your system. I came on and said, okay, you're successful. You show me your system. And you set your system up, and I ran your system exactly like you told me to do it. You said, run 2 VAs, do this, do that, do that. So I just put 100% faith in you. And I said, the next, 90 days, I'm not going to change anything that you do. I'm going to go exactly what you told me to do. And I'm not going to change it. And if I have any questions, I'm going to call you directly, or I'm going to call Rob or your VA or somebody else directly. And I'm going to say, okay, here's my question that I don't understand on your system. And you guys have been great to respond. The system has worked better than I thought it would work. I've heard a lot of negative about like VAs, but the way you set your VAs up, everything's been positive. So you got to trust the system. If you're going to pay somebody to teach you something, then you need to let them teach you what they need to teach you. And then, like you said, maybe in 6 months or 9 months down the road, maybe change it a little once you got some experience.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. What about you, Pamela? What would you say on the, someone's new? You're newer, right? So, right. I know you've already shared kind of some of the things that we do, but what would you say?
I think, the biggest thing is just get out there and do it. I know at the beginning it was Terry was doing this training alongside another portion, and it was, get out there and just get the deal, just put yourself out there. And I think, on the one that I did, where Terry was kind of the bulldog and we needed like the calmer, quieter, slow processing person. I was scared to death. I'm like, I've never done this. I don't know what to say really. And I fumbled my way through it and it worked, but some people just need to know that, you're trustworthy and that you're there, and that you're kind of listening, and that's the part that they need. So you never know what you bring to the table that someone else might need,
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you both. So thank you again for, coming on, sharing your story. I think people are going to get a lot from this. Guys, if you want to join our group, go to reinetwork.com/join. And these are two people that prove that it works. Okay. The results have been insane. Talk about 10 times your investment. That's exactly what's been done. So if you're interested, get in touch. We'll have a conversation. And we're more about, by the way, it's not if you have the money, it's about the personality. You've got to be willing to give, to share. And it's more about the personality. For anyone that's in the group and knows me, we don't have anyone, because I won't have it. And anyone that they talk to coming in, it's about, if they're not going to be a good fit, it's a no. I don't care if you got $1 million. I'm not interested. It's about personalities, and because you're going to spend a lot of time together on these calls, and there's nothing worse than having someone that no one can stand on that, right? I've been there myself, so I know. So guys, I appreciate you both. Again, if you're watching, guys, like and subscribe to the show. We're going to go to reinetwork.com/join. Come and join us. Any last words before we're done? Or are we good?
If you have any deals for St. Louis, send them to twolverton4@gmail.com. We'll look at all of them and help in any way we can.
There we go. Thank you, guys. And guys, remember, hit them up. We'll put that email in the notes. If you've got any deals under contract, you want a JV, they are buying as well as wholetailing, and even creative finance. And we never even talked about that deal, Terry.
Oh, we didn't talk about
we're going to do it. Let's just give a 2-minute on it because it's awesome. Okay.
So we got a VA call that said you need to go right away. He's taking he's interviewing people right now, or he's taking contracts now. So we ran out, showed up, and he's sitting on the porch, and there's like 3 people inside. There's a guy from Israel doing virtual. There's another guy out of California doing virtual, and then 2 local wholesalers that are there. And everybody else ran in and started taking pictures, and we sat down next to him. And so we sat down for quite a while and talked to him, and then everybody came out and they talked to him for a few minutes and handed in their contracts, and we continued to talk to him. And then we walked the house with him. We took him inside and we kind of walked it with him and talked to him about it. We found out that he wanted 70. He had a couple offers at 75, 77. He had a couple at 67, 68. After talking to him, he felt so comfortable with us. He said, "Hey, I haven't eaten. Can we finish this conversation over lunch?" So he took us to Cracker Barrel, and we sat down over Cracker Barrel, and we talked about the deal. And then while we were talking, his mother had died, and he had a probate deal in Florida that nobody had ever even asked him about. And so we talked to him. We got $70,000, and we made an agreement to go look at the Florison house. We went over and looked at the Florison house. This house is immaculate. It is unbelievable. I would live in it and do nothing to it. And it's valued at 160, 165 as it is. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And he said, "Well, if you'll give me 130, I'll take it." And he goes, "My biggest problem right now is taxes." He said, "I'm so worried about capital gains because of the inheritance stuff." And I said, "Well, if it's taxes, why don't we just give you a little bit each month? And then that way you don't have to claim it." And the guy said, "Well, I've never heard of that." So I sat down and explained to him how he could get around capital gains by doing a seller finance deal, but that it had to be, 8 years to go through Dodd-Frank. He perked up and he said, "That sounds perfect to me." So we ended up getting the house under contract for 8 years at $900 a month, and it'll rent out at $1,500 a month, and we don't have to do a thing to it. For 8 years, 0 interest, 0% down, all because he was afraid of paying capital gains.
Amazing. Right. So going that extra yard of just investing in people. I think, we could talk about 100 things, but I think that's the important thing that we do, right? You invest in the people, not the real estate. If you invest your time in people, the real estates just will come. And I think that's exactly what you did. You solved the problem. What's the problem? Capital gains. Well, this is how we get around it. Genius. He's more than happy. You've not mentioned about money down, right? You didn't get into. I think this is really important from a sales guy that's done it, is that people will use words that get them in trouble, like, well, how much interest do you want, or how much do you want down? He's not asked for interest. He's not asked for a down payment. So don't come out with things that have not even come up in conversation. You just expect that they don't want anything down. You expect that it's zero interest, and you're solving the problem. You come up with a monthly fee over the allotted time, and that works. And then if they say, well, how much will you give me down? Or, hey, is there going to be interest on this? Then you can cover that objection to work that in the deal. So that's awesome. Great job.
Right. Yeah. And nobody in front of us built any rapport with this poor guy. I mean, they just would run by him and hand him a contract and then let us know. And, and so we just sat down on the steps with him and just let everybody run by. And we were there 45 minutes and everybody was gone. We were the last person standing there talking to him. And we talked about him and his girlfriend and his kids and his business and how he put in, invisible fences. And we never actually even brought up the house until he asked us if we were going to walk it. And then we're like, oh, yeah, we probably ought to get to that. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. That's, it's game changing. But that's, again, why you're doing, what you're doing. And I think people need to, but also understanding, and it takes experience, doesn't it? Like, how you obviously sense that there was something there. You're not going to go to lunch and spend 2 hours and he wants 50 grand over retail.
Right.
You obviously knew that from the numbers we're going to work on the first house, it was leading to another. So it all kind of was aligned and made sense.
Right.
So
and
really good.
You told us about reaching out to property managers, that they always have buyers, property managers. And I actually have some rental properties myself. So I called my property manager and he goes, oh, yeah, I got 4 people out of California looking for everything you had. So going there, we already knew that we probably had a buyer in hand. We already knew that these California guys were looking in this area, that they were looking, in the 100 to 110, right? Because to them, 110 is unbelievable. They can't believe you can buy property for that. And so when he sold us 70, we're like, ink this, So we just had to take time and make sure we built rapport to get it done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the property managers and the realtors, they're game-changing contacts. They really are, because if you're an out-of-state buyer and you want a rental property, who are you going to call? A property manager? Or a realtor? That's what you're going to do. They're not going to look for us, the wholesaler. They just want to go, this is the person that's managing. Will you find me deals? Right? And that's why your property managers are so important to doing deals. So. Really good. Well, guys, I appreciate you. I know we just nearly wrapped up, but then I was like, damn, I forgot that's a key thing there. So, look, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to continuing to work and kind of grow and see what you guys do over the long term. So, thank you. And guys, if you're watching, go to rinetwork.com/join. Make sure you like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.